With these added requirements and conditions, there's no way we can have this go into construction this spring and summer, because it won't be done before fruit picking season.
Right.
Well, that pipe on Greenbriar is in bad shape. If you get any kind of good flooding, you're not gonna have a rig.
It's time. I'd like to call the meeting of the Huntington Township Supervisors to order. And thank you. I want to acknowledge the passing of a former supervisor, Everett Gaines, and ask that you will join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Excuse me, when was his years of service? As far as what dates?
Do you know, Pat?
Around? Long time ago, I guess, huh?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Oh, okay.
It's 2008.
He was after
I think
such.
he was done in 2008,
Oh, okay.
so it was,
Oh, okay.
got 4 or 5 years before that.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Is there any public comment on agenda items? Seeing none. The minutes for the last supervisors meeting were circulated. Is there any questions on the minutes?
I have none.
I have none. Make a motion, we approve the minutes of this November 9th supervisors meeting as presented. Is there a second?
I will second it.
Been moved in second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Bill list for last month were circulated. Are there any questions on the bill list?
You give me a minute to get it up.
All right.
There it is.
Hearing none, I make a motion we accept the bill list as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Been moved in second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. And Secretary, will you give us the financial report, please?
Gus is looking for it.
Got it.
Okay, the financial report for December 14, 2023. In the general fund, the total receipts were $61,793.76. The expenditures were $45,292.43. That lets a balance in the general fund of $744,067. In the American Rescue Plan, there was $19.87 interest received. The expenditures were $13,250, and that lets a balance in the ARP of $232,657.89. In the state fund, receipts were was interest receipt. It was $1.42. There were no expenditures. There's $34,547.92 there, of which $34,382.03 is an equipment balance. So that lets us, as of today, $1,011,272.81. So the bottom three lines there are the balances 1 year ago, 5 years ago, and 10 years ago. So you can see we've dropped a little bit, but we've actually made up a little just since last month. So we'll be back on a recovery and we'll do good.
Question, please? The expenditure for 13,000 plus, what was that exactly for?
The ARP expenditure,
Correct.
that was for the engineering for, it's three separate bills for engineering, Myerstown Bridge and the Greenbriar, the culvert replacement projects.
Ms. Pat, the income was mainly taxes.
My ears aren't working. The doctor told me to chew gum and it's not working.
Income mainly taxes?
Yes, ma'am. We actually got $56,000 last month. And when we get to the budget, you'll see it up there. We have the amount that we'll be getting in December. So we have the full year up there now. And when he gets to it, there's $387,000 came in earned income tax this year. That's a pretty good amount of money.
Any other miscellaneous items, Pat?
I do.
Okay. We'll move on to the roadmaster's report.
We cleaned side gutters in the lower end, and also we removed 2 trees on Rolling Road that were the request of the engineer when we raised the speed limit on that road.
Thank you. Supervisors, anybody have anything?
Nothing to my attention.
No, not either.
Nothing for me? All right. Move on to the zoning officer then.
Okay. Zoning on the ledger, all right. There were a number of permits issued. Building permit was issued to Ken and Mary Rudolph on the Idaville Yorklands Road for 30 by 65 foot hoop building. Scott McIntyre on 1451 Cranberry Road, 25 rooftop solar panels. I accepted a subdivision from Mark Hebner on Oxford Road for an add-on lot to his neighbor Wyant. It'll be known as Wyant's Lot 2A, and it's in our township and in Tyrone Township. There's no one to represent the plan tonight because we don't have county comments. The Flowing Springs subdivision has been sold. They submitted 2 building permits, one for a single-story, single-family dwelling, and one for a 2-story single-family dwelling. Those permits, even though I was ready to issue them, are put on hold because they haven't secured their letter of credit for the development. No permits will be issued by us until we have a letter of credit in hand. There were a lot of calls this month. JVI needs a land development plan. It's still a couple months away. They can't put any fill on the property. They've installed silt sock down below the cornfield. The corn's gone. They have a permit to increase the size of the septic system. They will be working on that. There is an agreement that was put together by our attorney and their attorney, I guess.
Mainly me.
Huh?
Mainly just.
Mainly you, all right, so we, and that's in your paperwork there. The agreement basically is an agreement between the township and them that would, how do we say it, indemnify us?
It basically says they can do pre-land development, plan approval, earth moving activities only, that they can do it pursuant to their ENS plan, and they basically are indemnifying the township, holding them harmless, acknowledging that throughout the course of their plan submission, certain things may have to change, that may change the earth moving activities because it may not coordinate with the ENS and the land development plan, and if any of that happens, they have to redo it. And it also says they have to submit a plan within 90 days, or they have to stop the earth moving activities. Because their attorney called, and he's, at first, they had a permit, I forget the acronym that it was, do you recall?
NPDES.
No, it was a WRNT, I hadn't heard of before. It was for the placing of fill. And then they...
That's the general overall, what DEP calls those types of permits, that's all.
So, in that, it said that they had to do a land development plan, and then their attorney called, and he's like, well, we talked with somebody in our office, talked with someone with DEP, and they said since it's clean fill, we don't need to proceed under that permit. I didn't necessarily really get any type of explanation as to how exactly that works, but the discussion that Gus and I had, and I discussed with other attorneys in my office, that they basically done agreements like this before, that they can start the earth moving activities prior to the actual land development plan being submitted and approved.
But they're on the hook themselves if in the end, when the land development plan is done, if that's different than what they've done, that they gotta fix it. So,
Why can't you add fill? Why can't they add fill?
well, there's no agreement between us and them at this point because they don't have a land development plan.
Ah, okay. In the future, they could if they need to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
I thought you were saying they can't do that.
No.
But some of the problem is, like, if they just wanted to dump some dirt on their property, that'd be fine. But when you do it pursuant to improving the property, it's land development. So they came to Gus and said, we're gonna do all this stuff, and then they're like, well, no, we're just gonna dump fill. It's like, well, no, you already told us what you're gonna do. You can't go back and be like, no, we're just dumping fill. I mean, they got a septic permit to revise the septic system. They know that, they told Gus that they're gonna put a fair amount of employees there. So that's land development because they're doing it in pursuant of that entire plan.
So this basically says they're allowed to dump fill only, or just move dirt only?
Move dirt. Well, it would include the fill as well, because that's moving dirt in their, that's what's in their ENS plan. It says that they can proceed in their ENS plan, which includes the fill.
Now, one of the things that in their state paperwork, it says that they can dump clean fill
Yeah.
as opposed to what they have up in Dillsburg.
I guess my question mostly is, what constitutes clean fill?
Dirt.
No, that's not right.
Has to be checked.
Clean fill has a very wide definition.
That's
in the
where I'm
state
headed with this,
in the state
because
law.
they'll say, well, some rock, I guess we need to know the definition of clean fill.
Tom and I talked about it. Basically, I'd like to know what the definition of not clean fill is, because clean fill seem to include pretty much everything.
Contamination, the way I
Yeah.
understand it.
Basically,
It has to be-
it
has to
could be-
tested.
Concrete,
Yeah.
asphalt, all is considered clean fill.
That's all considered clean. In
As
other
long
words,
as
all
it's
the
not
junk.
contaminated.
Yeah.
As long as it's not contaminated.
It's not contaminated with petroleum products, or asbestos or any other toxic substance,
Okay.
that's all not included.
It's more than you would have expected, let's put it that way.
And
So
who's
I-
going, and who's gonna monitor this? Us?
No, it's on them. It's their permit.
When you say them?
Them, the property owner.
Oh, that's real nice. They monitor their own, in other words, they're policing their own permit.
That's the way
Well,
the
that's
system
why we
works.
have this agreement.
Well, that and Adams County Conservation District.
Well, I know, yeah,
They
the
can't
conservation
do
district.
whatever they want, they have to do what's in their
Well,
plan.
okay. And what do you feel about this, Scott?
Well, I already told their engineer what I thought. I think they jumped the gun, they were doing stuff out of order. And the DEP's own rules say that they, to be project ready, to be able to do this, they have to have an approved plan with the township.
Right.
They didn't do that, and DEP's told them that they don't have to do that, but it's in their own rules, so I,
Well, so,
Yeah, DEP, it says that it's supposed to be approved by the
Approved
township, but
land
then they
development
still
plan.
approved it. You think that they should have got the approval before they.
correct.
All right.
It's confusing.
So, anyway, this agreement, I feel should go before the planning commission. We meet Monday night. But then, if we recommend it to you that we go ahead with it, the decision will have to be made at your February meeting. That's as soon as that we can approve it.
January?
January.
Well, yeah, the January meeting, all right.
When, if that, all that happens, Gus, the way you just described, I
Yeah.
guess I'm asking Todd, when's the 90-day clock start, or has it started already?
No,
The agreement starts the 90-day clock, so it wouldn't start until the agreement's signed.
If,
So the supervisor approved.
if the agreement's signed, correct?
Yeah.
Understand,
Yeah.
Yes.
okay.
but it is the February meeting,
More than I
Yeah.
want.
because this is the January meeting for this board. So-
At the soonest.
This is.
This
I'm
December.
sorry, January, you're right.
January after
Right,
reorganization.
after reorganization, that's,
Yep.
yeah. Sorry, I lost a month.
That's all right. One question. Back to Flowing Springs. What was the bond amount supposed to be for?
$55,000, I believe it was. And
Okay.
it's for the road
Yeah.
improvements.
And they haven't posted bond?
Well, there's the banks kind of require you to be the landowner before they'll give you a letter of credit.
Right.
Because the land is the,
It's-
Equity.
Right.
all right, so, even though they settled on the property, the bank won't issue a letter of credit to them until the deed's in their name.
Paperwork's done.
And
Okay.
that's
That's what I
just,
thought, but.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. King seems to be very concerned about the fill, and last month I noticed you had indicated something about, have they cleaned up their Dillsburg site? So right away, the average person will think hazardous waste of some sort. Is that what your concern is? I mean, you seemed very concerned, which is a good thing, and you,
Yeah, I guess I don't want the site in our township to look anything like the site in Dillsburg. And if that is what they call approved fill, I mean, or
Well, no.
a clean fill, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but
Um,
our permit requires them to restore the property to a certain condition, which evidently theirs, that permit is different.
Okay, well, yeah, it's just I mean, I don't want this site to look like the one in Dillsburg. I mean, that's, you know,
and we want to be clear,
it's an eyesore to me.
we're not talking about hazardous waste. There's no hazardous
No,
waste in
I get that.
Dillsburg.
we're like contaminated, what I.
No, it's not contaminated, it's not hazardous.
Mm-hmm.
That's got nothing to do with our site.
Yeah.
Now, do they also own the property here on 94, that dark green building? Because when I didn't know who JVI was.
Dark green.
And it indicates that their office is at a.
Oh, no, that's Hershey's. No, they don't own, they
Well,
lease.
You rent there.
They rent or lease the office space, that's
They
all that
do,
is.
okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, hopefully Gus will be just as
diligent.
good at his business like he was for the baseball field.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I mean, it's just, you know,
Well, that's why we want everything signed and sealed
well, yeah,
before we get to that part.
yeah.
Thanks.
Is that it, Gus?
That's it.
Thank you.
Oh, no, I'm not done yet.
Not done yet. Go ahead.
All right. I don't know how he went off on that, but anyway, all right, Garmin Builders, yes. So those two houses, the permits are on hold. I mentioned the JVI, and then Miller's. We have a court date with the district magistrate set for January the 25th at 1 p.m. Hopefully, Judge Wagner will make a decision on the item that's before him. So we'll see what happens. I'm getting a lot of calls from realtors and interested parties. We have two crazy pieces of ground in our township. I got, when they built the 4-lane Route 15 past our township, they subdivided a farm that's split between the two sides of 15. And one part is, of course, gave us Long Lane, was an access road to the property in the back, which belonged to, at one time, York Springs Modular Homes. The result is a long spear point of a property that's between Long Lane and Southridge Road. And there's altogether about 5 point some acres in that land. Actually, if you check the deed, I think says 3 acres. And the reason for that is that the state has a right-of-way for Route 15 that takes a lot of that property away from their control. So basically, this 5 acres, there's only, I'd say, a third of the property that's large enough to build on and meet our setbacks. It's a narrow piece of ground that goes out to a point, and our setbacks are 66.5 feet, measured from the center of Southridge Road and the center of Long Lane. So when you take those off, it doesn't leave anything in the middle that you can build on, except at the one end. And it's property zone commercial, and I'm getting a lot of calls from people about what to, that they'd like to buy it and put some commercial property on it, and basically it's impossible to do it. So, even though there's a lot of interest in it, I don't think anyone can practically build on it. And then we have another property that we've been wrestling with for a number of years, 6335 Oxford Road, which is the Watts property, the son's property, up on the hill. It has a 1,500-foot, 25-foot wide driveway that runs up the side of the property. The lot is like a flag. You have the driveway is a flagpole that runs up the side. It's pretty steep up at the upper end. And then there's like a flag sticks out that has about 5 acres, and there's a house built on it. And the son, when he built the house, he drove across Daddy's land to get to it. Well, in the meantime, Daddy sold the other land, and the people who bought it don't want strangers driving past their back door. So a gentleman from Texas bought this house, sight unseen, at an online auction, and he wanted to develop a driveway. Never got done. They had a land swap involved that would have swapped some property so that they wouldn't have to go all the way up to the top of the flagpole with the driveway. They could cut over down below. That deal fell through, And so now he's listed the property again, and there's all kinds of people want to look at it and buy it, but in the rumors about the deal, the owner of the property never paid the engineers, so the engineer's holding on to his plan. And the word I got was that the estimate for building this 1,500-foot driveway was like $110,000. And it's kind of difficult to build something on 25 foot of land and have to manage stormwater and erosion and everything else. So there's a lot of people who think they'd love to have it, and they're calling in here. At this point, I tell people, unless they've hiked from Oxford Road up to the top of the property, there's no sense in us talking about anything, and that usually stops it now. But,
So basically, the house is kind of landlocked in a way.
yeah. Unless you
Even
got
though there's a
a,
right of
Well,
way.
you couldn't keep somebody from driving up there the way it is now, really, right?
well, if he can, if he had an Abrams tank or
He
something,
can get it.
if he had something to get up
That's
there.
not-
But to make it an official, they would still have to get a right-of-way permit onto the township road.
Well, they have to be constructed.
Well, I guess that's
Yeah.
my point. I mean,
Mhm.
if someone's willing to spend that kind of money to actually
Yeah.
build the driveway and,
Well, these people that are calling me aren't.
they
don't
don't,
have-
I guess they just don't understand the location. Yeah.
Right. Well, I just want to make you aware of that because this township approved that subdivision back a number of years ago with that flag.
I thought we approved the driveway too.
We did,
We did.
absolutely
Yeah.
did.
So that
If
means
somebody wants
that-
to.
Yeah, that means.
Yeah, if they want to spend the money and do it
Yeah,
accordingly, yeah.
that's the only way that you can have access to it.
So to buy a piece of property
We
from
gave
someone
them a
else.
stormwater waiver. Mark is exactly right.
Yeah.
We approved it in planning, you guys approved
If they had a 25-foot right of way to go up
it.
there.
And
Now,
it
it's not, that doesn't mean it's gonna be cheap.
and it was contingent, it was contingent upon the land swap, which you said didn't go through.
Right.
Because that's what the whole premise of the
Yeah, they
design
were
was.
going up there partway and then gonna cut over.
Yeah.
But the land swap fell through, so that nullifies that original
Exactly.
plan?
Absolutely.
Because the original plan wasn't to go the whole way up to the top of the hill, right?
That's correct.
Mhm.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So anyway, we got these two properties that are gonna be bugging us for a while, I think. The Adams County Tax Collection Committee met, the third quarter results are in. I'm glad we're in good financial shape with our collections coming in, because according to the Tax Bureau, our EIT collections for the district are down about 7%.
Could you tell me what an EIT is?
Earned
Earned
income.
income tax.
And why are they down?
Why?
People aren't working.
No, it's actually, I didn't understand the entire report. Part of it is the collections from employers are down. However, the collections from workers are up by like 3%. And they feel that they're in a strong enough position that they're reducing the collection fee for collecting the tax from 1.85% to 1.75. That shows that they have some confidence in it. So we'll see what the fourth quarter brings. And you gotta remember, our township does better than what they do. The other thing I want to mention is, if any of you as a resident have an opportunity to offer an opinion on our broadband service in our township, to please express your opinion. We have limited broadband service in the township with very limited speeds and very high costs. Every time someone asks for an opinion, everyone kind of throws up their hand and says, well, Adams County is being bypassed with the high speed. I think it's the highest speed you can get in our township is like 10 gigabytes. Most of us can have 5, so it would be a definite improvement for our township in Adams County to get better service. And also this, I've been doing some research on the building inspector situation with Wilbur retiring. I've got 2 offers for the service, one from South Penn Code Consultants in York County, 7 Valleys, and one from Pennsylvania Municipal Code Alliance, which is in Chambersburg. When the Planning Commission meets, my intention is to ask for some volunteers to review or interview these 2 outfits and come up with a recommendation to the board. And that's it.
Thank you for that research, Gus. Solicitor's report?
Quick, Gus,
Okay.
how long is Wilbur willing to keep doing that?
Well, he said in his letter that he would hang in there for the year,
Okay.
but he's calling it a soft retirement.
Because I know other townships where he represented them were questioning that, and I thought that was the case, that he won't leave anybody hanging essentially.
Right, he'll keep working with the ones that we have, that he's got, and until we get this in place. I would like to have the outfit in York I wasn't familiar with. The one in Chambersburg I am, but I'm not particularly happy with them. But they have an office in Gettysburg. We need someone local who can work. Most of my, with the exception of Flowing Springs, in JVI, most of our jobs, permits, are for sheds and barns and decks and that type of thing. We build about 7 or 8 houses a year. So I need someone who's willing to work with people on plans and inspections to get the job done. But we also need someone who is qualified, because Wilbur had a couple of school buildings that he had to inspect, which are totally different. And when we do commercial work, those are different. And they have to be qualified to do those kind of inspections also.
Yeah, I haven't dealt with South Penn before. I think I've heard of them, but I've never dealt with them. But I kind of share your feelings on PMCA.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you have anything else, Todd?
The only thing, we still haven't heard back on waste management. So it's a question of, do you guys want to think about it now, or do you want to wait to tackle it next year, as far as what you want to do to try to basically take them to task for all the missed pickups that they had, as they offered one solution that we basically thought was unreasonable, and they haven't responded to our request to basically credit customers. Basically, you missed a pickup and their bill, say it's, in a quarter, you have one every week, so maybe like 12 pickups in a quarter, and it's $360 and $30 per pickup, and every pickup they miss, they get a credit for one, was what we proposed, and that's what they haven't responded to. And again, the options are, we work out something where they credit the customers, or we try to enforce the contract that has provisions for liquidated damages that get paid to the township. And don't really help the people.
Why aren't they responding? Because you gotta push them.
Well,
That's the way they are.
they probably aren't responding because I think the contract is like, was it $500 or $800 per incident? And I'm sure they're not gonna pay that, and I guess they don't wanna voluntarily pay the number that we have, which was like 70 or 80 potential credits. I mean, we can keep,
People didn't want the service they got either.
yeah, I mean, at some point, it's either you keep writing letters and trying to ask them for a response, or you have to consider actually taking them to court.
So we need to push them. You push it, and then if they don't respond, we take them to court. They're in breach of the contract.
So I would say the last thing before taking it to court is I'll just tally up the total, multiply it by what it says in the contract, and basically just write a demand letter saying, this is how much we want. Just the understanding as to why we don't just, all I'll pursue with that is to prove all the missed pickups will eventually be difficult at some point, because we probably have to get residents to actually come into court and say that their garbage was missed.
Well, I had to listen to them,
Yeah, I mean,
They can come in.
you got emails and everything like that, but that would all be hearsay. You'd have to have people come in and testify to it, which they probably understand to a certain extent as well. But I'll do that to see if we can at least get them to come back then and respond to.
At least respond to your
What
offer.
our proposal of just basically giving the customers credit.
Yeah.
Because they did automatically give a few customers credit. We have the email correspondence. Because there was one person that they knew missed like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. And the one guy said, send somebody out there immediately, and then send another email saying, issue this person credit. So they know they messed up. And some of them they messed up really bad. So I'll send that out and I'll let you know.
All right, Scott, engineers report.
For Greenbriar Road, there's nothing new on that project. The construction budget is about $200,000 for that now with the increased size of the culvert. Myerstown Road, Ted Musselman met with Chuck last month, but I have not heard back with the results.
We just met this week up there. I had some other road projects with Muffman to look at, and she had the gentleman from the Dirt and Gravel Low Volume Road Center up. They went up through, that one also now qualifies for low volume dirt and gravel grant. That, because they did we went up through and did a bank study, and it qualifies for that now. So she'll be in touch with you, because what they're gonna have to do now is prepare and with the dirt and gravel people and discuss engineering, I guess, now, what they're gonna be involving, but they gotta do some stream survey yet. They'll be out, she'll be out to do some stream survey, you know, what they require upstream and downstream reconfiguration.
Okay, so if the township wants to follow with that funding, that project is also going to be about 200,000 then, up from my original estimate, just due to the size of the culvert that's required. With these added requirements and conditions, there's no way we can have this go into construction this spring and summer, because it won't be done before fruit picking season.
Right.
Well, that pipe on Greenbriar is in bad shape. If you get any kind of good flooding, you're not gonna have a road.
Yeah, they're both pretty bad. I was down in the Myersville Road culvert, that's,
That's solid concrete in the bottom. That pipe over there has nothing in the bottom. So, we're doing a lot of procrastinating on a pipe that should be fixed, because if that blows out, Rebel's Construction is gonna have a major problem. And I
yeah.
think that's gonna be on the township.
And I did not receive a land development plan from JVI yet, which Gus already talked about. And I reviewed one subdivision plan for the planning commission meeting Monday. And that's my report.
Okay. Any questions for the engineer? Seeing none. I see we have some fire company representatives tonight, so floor is yours.
You have been receiving our reports, monthly reports via email.
Yep.
Main things I really have are working with the 911 center on what we call the CAD, the computer aided dispatch. There is a new system in the works. They're hoping to have it implemented around the beginning of April. With that, there will be some changes coming to the box cards that I'm currently working on. They want to standardize it, which will basically be an increase in units for each box alarm. Whereas some would run 2 engines and 2 tankers. They're now going to say everybody runs 3 engines and then a ladder truck on every alarm. It'll just make it easier for the way the new CAD is to aid with the dispatching. All I may need is that first alarm, that working fire, and I could say I need 2 more engines and 2 more tankers and not go into that whole second alarm. In the process, since it's coming up on the new CAD, I am adding boxes 13 and 14, which would be 2513 and 2514. That is the US 15 north and southbound, north of 234. They're working with the other departments and the other chiefs in the county, I don't know where it's going to go, to have all of Route 15 be its own individual boxes in each department. We've ran it for probably 10 years, from the 394 Hunterstown interchange to the 234 Hadlersburg. We're just continuing that on in the rest of our service area of 15. Since it's in that, it was in the 25-1, I've mirrored those boxes with what that was. There's really not going to be a change in any service. It'll still be us New York Springs. Just trying to be prepared for whenever they do the whole corridor of 15 with a special box if that comes.
So how much is an alarm?
The first alarm will be 4 engines, 3 tankers, a rescue, and a ladder. And then the ambulance, EMS service. Working fire would bring you 2 more engines, and then it would be what they call the tanker task force, which is 1 engine plus 3 more tankers, and then you just keep calling tankers after that. I just have to keep bumping more units up in the alarms. It's just, it takes time. So I will be coming back next month, hopefully with them finished, to to get them approved. The other thing Heidelberg is working on is got a grant from the county to the ARP funds to replace our air packs, our self-contained breathing apparatus. We were awarded a total of $250,000 with it being divided 50-50 to each department. So each department's getting $125,000. I believe York Springs has ordered theirs. We're in the process of ordering ours.
So how much is each one?
Each air pack is right around $6,000 with the bottle and the mask. You're looking at about $8,500.
So
We need 14 just to replace the ones on the apparatus.
So do you use them up and then they're done?
So the bottles have a 15-year life cycle.
Okay.
Every 15 years, we have to replace bottles. Heidelberg's bottles are set to expire in 2026. So then we'll be good for the next 15 years.
You said that came from the county,
That came from the county.
ARP.
Correct. $125,000 did not cover the whole thing. The fire department's having to lay out more. But if we don't do it, we're looking to lay out that $150,000 by ourselves.
But the county gave you ARP money to
Correct.
help towards that.
Correct.
Have any other townships given you ARP money for anything?
Not that I know of, no. I would have to get with the treasurers and whether Butler or Strabane.
I know we have.
I don't think Huntington has. And then I don't know about Reading.
Were there other volunteer fire departments that received grants from the county?
I don't believe they did. I don't know if they applied. We had asked Biglerville if they wanted to join that. About a year before that, they had gotten a state grant from state funds. It may have been a federal.
It doesn't matter.
That they have replaced their air packs.
Okay.
So, I would look for that to all be closed out probably by the middle of next year. We're told 5 to 6 months to receive them.
So that takes care of the entire cost?
No,
I'm
we have
sorry.
to add more.
How much more do you need?
I think our fire department is another 32,000. I think our whole bill was in the neighborhood of 157 or so. I don't have a completed quote or order from my supplier.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Do you have anything for your Springs?
I know we did order our packs and we got them in. We had to wait for training and everything before we can put them in service.
How much did you spend on that?
I do
Oh,
not.
you don't know, okay.
Yeah.
I think these are in the neighborhood of 140 and 50, I think also. York Springs was in a little bit different situation. They had some bottles that didn't need replaced,
Okay.
that they had 10 years on.
Yeah.
We had ordered all of our stuff years ago in one lump sum.
Yeah, it's really a shame that townships don't get up to the plate on that, because especially as an elder in this community, we depend on you guys. I mean, it's just very, very unbelievable. Especially because that's what the money was originally supposed to be used for. Because I'm sure you guys lost a lot of money on your fundraisers.
And I think I could get that from the president if we needed to, if they needed to know how much we believe we lost.
Well, that would be on your 990s, wouldn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
How much is the cost for you to be trained? Or is that in-house? And how much training do you need on those things?
that can be done in-house in one easy.
Okay.
The operation's very similar to across the board. It's just the little quirks of each, correct, and the changes from year to year.
And the REMA report is next, and their next meeting is February, so I have nothing to report from them other than they're still working on their business. Old business, Greenbriar Road and Myerstown were both discussed in Scott's report. The budget for '24, Pat?
I didn't have any calls from anybody about the budget to come in and see it or anything. There's been no changes to, any of the information that we put on, because what we discussed at the last meeting is, it's there, Gus has it, he'll show it to you.
There it is.
Okay, so as we discussed at the last meeting, we're starting the year with considerably less than we normally do, but we anticipate about $774,000 to come in through the year, and that would give us $1,713,000 to work with right there in the white blocks. And then between the two gray ones there is what we expect to spend on the general government and public safety, and skip that gray spot and go down again. There's the biggest expense will be the highways, roads and streets. The project that we're going to deal with, and the summer project that we always do, and about $150,000 there. But the culverts this year, if they end up being this year, could be $400,000. But again, we anticipated that for 2023, and now we're not even sure it's going to be in 2024. But at any rate, that's going to be our biggest expense, and we expect to end the year right there with $803,000, which is about a little more than $100,000 less than we started out with. The state doesn't like you to spend more than you bring in, but these are strange circumstances that, like, we couldn't spend it this year, now we're ready to spend it in '24 if we can, and if we don't, then we'll be less than what we brought in. So you don't know what you're gonna deal with until you're dealing with it. So we just have to wait and see. That is what I'm looking at there. That $803,000 will be left at the end of 2024, and it's like we don't have any, there's no chance that we're going to have a problem. We have that earned income tax coming in, and you saw that even during the pandemic, when they anticipated they would be so low, they didn't go as low as what they anticipated, and we're still in good shape.
So can I assume the $700,000 is taxes?
Say it again.
Income, the $700,000 income is mainly taxes?
Okay, we expect to get $400,000 from the earned income tax. We'll get $169,000 from the state for the highway aid fund, and we're hoping that we get that grant, that we've applied for, and that's $100,000. So that's what we're looking at with the income.
What's the grant for?
For the
Culvert pipes.
the culvert.
So that takes it down to 300,000. That'll take it down to 300,000.
Yeah. And if we got 2 twos, okay, and if we get one, for each of those, if we get 100,000 for each of those, that's still, that's free money, and that will help us considerably. And that's what we're hoping for. But I do not have the second grant money in there. This first grant money, we're not promised it, but we're, the county and the state have been very favorable in their comments, so we do anticipate receiving that 100,000.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Not, I make a motion we approve the budget as presented. Is there a second?
I will second it.
Been moved and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next business is to award the bid for the pickup truck.
What's the pickup for?
Road work.
Kind of truck is it?
I will explain that to you when I get the bid.
Alrighty, sounds good, Paul.
We have only one bid.
Yes.
It's a 2017 Ford 350 Super Duty utility with 90,000 miles with a, what's the box called?
Reading body.
Reading body.
Utility body.
For utility body. The bid is for $28,795. Any questions?
Who is it from? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Who is it from?
Yeah,
Wessels.
okay. Is anyone here related to Wessels? Is there any conflict of interest here?
Couldn't tell you. I'm not.
I'm not.
I'm not, but have you guys looked at this truck?
Yes.
The answer is I haven't. I mean, I didn't even know anything about it.
So what's the sudden need for what's the major need for the truck? What's the idea?
Can you plow with it?
No.
No, we're not. It is to eliminate throwing everything on the little dump and to go out to do road work, to be able to have their equipment in the truck all the time so that they take the truck out and do it, to eliminate using a plow truck to go for parts.
Is it a diesel?
No, it's gas.
It's gas truck.
No, I don't know why we're not being able to plow with it. You should be getting a vehicle that.
Well, it's only two-wheel drive.
That's
It's
correct.
not four-wheel drive?
No. I mean, we have plenty of plow trucks. I mean,
Yeah, but you don't have plenty of CDL drivers to drive them.
we're pretty much fully staffed now.
Any other questions?
Oh, can I see the? That's the only one we got.
That's the only one.
Okay.
Any other discussion? If not, I make a motion, we purchase the truck for $28,795. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Been moved in second, all those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed no.
I'm opposed. I don't see the need for the truck.
The motion is passed 2-1 with Mr. Leer opposed.
What's paying for the truck? General fund, state money,
Equipment money.
equipment now,
State.
state.
At this time, I want to recognize Mark Lear's service for the township. We have a certificate of appreciation here. For 15 years of service as Huntington Township Roadmaster, 12 of which were double duty as a township supervisor. Mr. Lear worked countless hours on our roads in every kind of weather. Huntington Township has received numerous compliments from residents, non-residents, and municipal officials of various levels of government. Mr. Lear is a proud second-generation roadmaster and supervisor. He assisted in several projects with our local FFA and neighboring municipalities. Mr. Lear always made fair, intelligent, responsible decisions in the performance of his duties as roadmaster and supervisor. The effective performance of his duties is in keeping with the highest standards of Huntington Township and the Huntington Township Board of Supervisors.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I'd like to also thank the taxpayers and the voters of the township for supporting me through all those years. And I'd like to also say that as far as I can see, the road crew is keeping up with the work that we've done, and I'm happy to see that. So thanks again, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. We also have a certificate for Pam Rowley, who was an auditor and is leaving, but she could not be here tonight, so we will see that she gets her certificate. Next is Planning Commission wants our approval for rewriting the subdivision and land development ordinances. They have reached out to the county. The county is going to help them with this project for no fees. And I would like to make a motion that we give them the opportunity to rewrite the subdivision and land development plans. Is there a second?
I will second that motion.
Been moved and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Pennsylvania Farm Show, Public Officials Day Luncheon is January the 10th. So do we need to make reservations for that, Pat?
Yes, if anybody wants to go, let me know, I can get you registered.
Okay.
Well, you do it yourself if you want, but, we can do it through here, through PSATs.
Okay. The next one is to notify the public there will be no amendments to the supervisors' meeting agendas. And I'll turn that over to the solicitor.
So the Pennsylvania Commonwealth Court recently ruled in a case that a municipal body or any body cannot make agenda amendments at the meeting simply by voting on them, which had been the general consensus basically amongst the PSATs, PSABs for boroughs, and pretty much all solicitors. Read the one section that said agendas have to be posted 24 hours in advance, and there was a provision that says unless amended by a motion at the meeting, the Commonwealth Court read it very narrowly and says you can only do that amendment if it's an emergency, a contract that has come up before the municipality 24 hours in advance. I think that, or if it's de minimis, that basically there's no expenditure of money, or you're not really doing anything. So it means that anything that needs to get approved has to be on the agenda unless it falls into one of those categories. I think there's a lot of people that aren't very happy with the decision. It's been long enough now that I haven't heard whether or not the school district, the case involved the school district, that's who made a motion to amend their agenda and somebody challenged it. I don't know if they've appealed yet, but there's basically the legislators who wrote it have kind of said that that's not how it's to be interpreted. So either the case might get appealed or there might be a legislative change, but that won't be quick. So in the interim, if anybody wants anything on the agenda, get it in as soon as possible, otherwise it can't be acted upon.
Receipt of the Pennsylvania Auditor General's liquid fuels tax examination.
Okay, every year the state audits our liquid fuels tax fund, and this is acknowledging that, that they did it for the year of 2022, and there were no findings. Everything's where it needs to be. We only have the equipment fund left for this year, so we're doing what they want us to do. They want to give us the money, they want us to spend it on the roads, we're doing it, and they approve it. And the thing that they really like is that we don't write our payroll out. We mainly do like the big projects, and it takes the most of what they give it to us for, and they are satisfied with that. Acknowledge that.
I'd like to acknowledge that you do a good job of making sure that the right money gets spent on the right items.
Well, thank you.
Moving on to subdivisions and land development. Do we want to take that agreement?
Just, I would appreciate it if you would make a motion to forward that to the planning commission for review.
I'll make a motion to do that.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Then moving to second to take the agreement, send the agreement to the planning commission for approval. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Paul, can the planning commission, can they have that in an email before the meeting so we can look at it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Gus. The Heatner subdivision plan is not here tonight.
No, table that for next time.
Okay. We had right-to-know requests from Reed DeGangi for any and all correspondence between the officials and employees with PSATs from December 19th, 2022 to January 31, 2023. Was that taken care of, Pat?
I did answer that one.
Okay.
Yes, I took a 30-day extension, and I did send the response.
We had a November 16th right to know from Reed DeGangi on any and all correspondence between officials and employees with PSATs from February 1st, 2023 to February 28th, 2023.
Okay, that one, I also took an extension, and I am still in my extended, my 30 days.
And on November the 20th, we had a right-to-know request from Marie DeGangi. Any and all invoices for professional services rendered and submitted by Salzman Hughes for the months of June, July, and August of 2023.
Okay, I took the 30-day extension on that one also, working with Todd to get the response prepared.
Okay?
I sent you those, right, Pat? Did you, I sent you those? No?
On December 1st, 2023, Marie DeGangi, any and all invoices for professional services rendered and submitted by Salzman Hughes for the months of September and October of 2023.
Okay, again, I took an extension on that, and again, I'm working with Todd, so the responses will be done in the allowed time.
Question. On the one from November 6th, it was due the 15th, your extension. Did you send that out?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Upcoming meetings, the Planning Commission will meet Monday, December the 18th at 7. The Supervisors reorganizational meeting will be January the 2nd at 7. The Auditors reorganizational meeting will be Wednesday, January the 3rd at 7. And our regular business meeting for January will be January the 11th at 7. The next NAREMA meeting will be Wednesday, February the 7th at 6 at Manawan Township. Is there any public comment?
Oh,
Yes.
I just want to say, Cindy and I had gone around taking pictures of our township, and we have 2 pictures in the PSAT's calendar. Not that anybody will ever see them, but it's the church up in Rock Chapel, and it's the covered bridge.
Yes, Pat and I discussed that, and we were going to unveil that in January.
I'm sorry.
You stole his thunder.
Just point that out.
Okay,
I didn't say it.
that's fine. Any other comments? Yes.
Mr. Leer, I want to thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
When I started coming to the meetings, it was because of the serious fly issue from manure or whatever. And when Chairman Geist told us, well, we should just move if we didn't like it, you were the only supervisor who got up to the plate and did something about it and then you not only did something about it, you actually brought each of us to our homes, paperwork, the numbers for the woman who handles these kind of issues. So that went way beyond. And thank you very much for your service all these years, even though I didn't live here permanently at the time, but you have a lot of integrity, and we welcome you to this side of the table,
Well, thank you.
where you're considered very valuable.
I echo, I've known Mark a long time.
But you,
I thank you for your service.
You're welcome. And, like I say, thank all of you for your support, and it was an interesting ride. I'm not going anywhere, I'll be here.
yeah.
Any others?
Have we ever heard anything about the website that was getting made for us?
Yes, we are working on that. We could not get a, what's it called?
Because we're a local government, there's a lot of things that you can and can't do.
Yes.
But at any rate, working through the county and Trista, the people that, we have our internet with.
I just hate the county website as far as the navigate
Yeah.
through.
Well, they're putting our information on for us, and they did recommend some of the things that ended up we couldn't do. The one that we thought we could do, we couldn't. And,
We are working on it, and we are
Well, I
trying
figure
to...
they've been slacking, it hasn't really been nothing your fault, it's, I think they're not doing what they should, that's all.
well, supposedly it'll be set up by the middle of January. And this is traced to another company in Gettysburg that's backing all of this that we have to, that we thought we could do and couldn't, and now tell us what we can.
I was just kidding, thanks.
All right. Anything else? Yes.
Yeah, question. Last month I gave you my grievance package and I requested that if he answered this month, is that, or shall I have it, a formal request to be put on the agenda for January?
Do you have specific questions?
The questions were in the package. And you gave it to the attorney after the meeting because I witnessed that.
I guess you will have to have it on the agenda for
Okay.
November,
For November?
or for January.
Okay,
Excuse me.
okay. Will do.
Anything else? Hearing none, I make a motion, we adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Been moved and second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed no. Motion carries.